Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I also have gained such an enthusiasm for roses since I've started working for Spring Meadow Nursery and the Proven Winners Color Choice brand. So it's always exciting to be able to talk with fellow rose enthusiasts, especially about shrub roses, which is what we do here at Spring Meadow Nursery. We grow and propagate starter shrubs, woody ornamentals, of which shrub roses are a big part of that. I'm a public relations specialist for the brand. Today I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by just giving you a little background about what we do here at the nursery, so you kind of know where I'm coming from, and then to tell you about our award-winning roses, and how they're, who the breeders are, how they're made, how they've been put together, and then at the end I'll give you a little sneak peek of some new roses that are coming around the corner. So let's jump in. Okay, so this is an overhead view of part of Spring Meadow Nursery. It's where I work. What you see there are part of our over 50 acres of greenhouses that we have under glass. I use that term loosely. It's actually a poly type of house. There are acres and acres of greenhouses where we grow these little starter shrubs. Now, we only grow shrubs in these greenhouses. We don't grow perennials and we don't grow annuals, so we really specialize in woody ornamentals. And these shrubs are actually, we call them liners, and we grow millions and millions of liners every year. Now that might prompt you to ask, well, what's a liner and why is it called a liner? Oh, that little red circle's my car. Just like to prove that I actually work here. And actually too, if you can see my pointer here, you see this little garden here on the side. I'm actually sitting in a brand new wing that exists right now in this little area of the greenhouse. So we're expanding every day and reaching more and more of the market. A big part of that is the southern market. So we're going on to talk about what's a liner. Well, liners are basically very small starter plants, and they're called liners because basically they're grown in trays, which are laid out in long lines on the greenhouse floor instead of on benches. So it's a pretty simple explanation. Now, all of these liners are started from cuttings that we take out in our growing field, and you can see someone holding a handful of them here. And then they're planted in 3 tray sizes, either 2 1/4 inch, 4-inch, or quick turn sizes, which are quarts. And we call them quick turns because our customers, who are finished wholesale growers, can quickly turn this 1 quart plant into a 1 gallon plant that's retail ready for their customers, who sometimes are another generation of wholesalers, but many times those are the retailers. And then you'll see those sizes that they grow in your local garden center. Now, we grow acres and acres of liners like this. You can see right here, 45 plus acres, over 1 million square foot of starter shrubs. But not any shrub makes it into these white Proven Winners containers that you see these Perfectamundo azaleas in. They have to go through a pretty rigorous selection process before they end up as liners on our greenhouse floor. Now that process starts with our breeders. We work with in-house breeders who you see here in this picture, but we also work with breeders across the country as well as abroad. So we're going to learn about some of those breeders today. But our breeding team, when they start, they always start with one question, and that is, what would make a better shrub? Now, they take into consideration all of the points that you see listed here as they're trialing new selections. So all of that works into their decision process and their trialing process. And that can take a long time. In fact, the time it takes from a plant to go from breeding to selection through trialing and then being offered in our catalog can take up to 10 years or more. So let's take a deeper look into that trialing process and see why it might take that much time to introduce a new rose to the market. Now, once we have made the selections from the breeders, which we saw in the previous slide, we'll start that trialing process to grow. And the first step in that is growing these shrubs in containers in our greenhouses. Now, in the case of the roses that you see here, we crowd them into the greenhouse. We overhead water them every day. We keep them in the same containers, tightly spaced together for 2 to 3 years until, honestly, most are so stressed out that they succumb to disease. Then we start throwing away the ones that drop leaves, the ones that get black spot, that stop blooming, anything that doesn't look like a superstar. Now, I get it. I know you might be tempted to say, I'd take any of those roses you're throwing away from my garden, but you wouldn't pay your hard-earned money for them. And that's where it really comes down to. So once they've gone through this cut of being in this indoor trialing situation, we then test our shrubs outside. Now, this is an image of one of our trial and cutting fields. If you remember a couple slides ago, we talked about the fact that we grow all of our shrubs from cuttings. That gives them an identical shrub every single time we grow a liner. So not only do we trial shrubs out in these fields, we also take our cuttings off the mother shrubs in these fields. Now, in these test fields, the new shrubs are inspected regularly, and if they're not better than the best plant we sell, they're also marked and discarded. So they could go from that greenhouse situation that you saw earlier into this trial field and still not make it to the catalog. After 2 to 3 years, we'll get down to just a few really, really great plants. And if we're lucky, one plant will stand out and we'll have the potential for that to be a new introduction. That plant will propagate into 30 to 100 plants from the original mother plant. The test at that point is to see if they're going to grow and behave like the original seedling. And more importantly, we have to determine if it's unique or better than its potential competition. Once we've gotten through those field trials, it's time to put them in a garden trial. So this is our trialing, this is our display garden, and our trialing as far as in a garden situation. We test them in gardens across the country as well. You know, we talked about in my introduction, you heard that we do send a lot of our roses to the rose trials. Really great information for us because this garden is in Michigan, but we do need to know how are they going to perform in Louisiana, in Minnesota, in, South Dakota. Like, we need to know where these are going to perform out on the West Coast and how they're going to do all across the country. But this is our trial garden in Michigan. It's a really nifty shot of it from overhead. And you can see this is also the owner's property, and he's laid out this trial garden in a really interesting way. Now, the roses are where my pointer is pointing across right here. These are all rose bushes that are being trialed next to each other. But then he started this out like the top of a tree. But then he had the foresight down the line when he developed this piece of property to develop the roots of the tree. And here, over here, you can't see it behind these trees. We've got some more roses being tested in here. And it's just a beautiful place to come and explore. And let's take another look at them. Here's another shot, not overhead, but inside. That's where I had talked about the extra amount of roses that are in there. And if you could ever get a group together of 10 or more people and you happen to be in West Michigan, please contact me. I would love to take you on a tour through our trial and display gardens, especially right now. It's a beautiful time to visit. But let's get back to trialing. If a shrub has made it all the way through the greenhouse trials and the field trials, we need to know if it's going to falter here in a garden situation, because if it falters here, we can't introduce it, because if it can't be exceptional in this garden, it's not going to be exceptional in your garden, and that's our goal. So as you can see, it takes a lot of work to introduce a truly exceptional shrub, which is any shrub that we offer in our catalog. Now let's get back to roses. After 20 years and hundreds of roses that we've thrown away or tested or trialed, we currently have 23 rose cultivars under the Proven Winners brand available at retail. Now, from time to time, we've had more. Oftentimes, we've had less. But even if a rose is really good, if nobody's buying it and the nurseries won't carry it, we can't continue growing it. Because roses are a tough business where only the strongest survive. Now, we know this is true because people vote with their wallets every spring. And for the last 20 years, That vote has been for one rose. And for now anyway, as good as our roses are, that rose that they're voting for isn't one of ours. But our roses are fantastic. So my job is to make sure that our roses are sitting alongside the granddaddies of the rose world on the benches of every garden center. Now, I'm not saying we need to knock them out of the running, but there's plenty of room for us to all coexist. And I think it's a great idea to have choices. So let's take a look at some of those choices now. So these are some of our award-winning roses. We're proud to say they're all top performers, but these have performed exceptionally well, earning roses in trials nationally and internationally. Now, when we partner with rose trials across the country, we don't just do it for the awards, although that's nice too, but we really do it because we gain valuable information about how our cultivars are going to perform in regions that are really different from ours. These are some of the trials we participated in over the years, as well as Portland Rose Trials, the Rose Hills Rose Trials, the All-America Rose Selections. Now, I've seen many images of the Elegant Rose Trials in the Biltmore, and I was even planning on what hat I'd wear when I attended my first, but sadly, the last trial at the Biltmore was in 2020. However, it's worth noting the interesting names of the many honors they've bestowed upon their cultivars. Moving on to the Award of Excellence. In 1973, the American Rose Society Board of Directors established this award to recognize superior miniature and miniflora rose varieties. This trial accepts roses that have been in commerce for less than 1 year. They're evaluated 2 to 3 years in 7 public and 2 private test gardens. I'm pretty sure that's still current, spaced geographically across the United States. Since 2013, roses may be entered in a no spray division and a preventative spray division, or both. Entries are scored on 11 criteria in 4 times during the growing season. At the end of the trial period, awards of excellence are given to deserving entries with a minimum of 5 per year. The American Garden Rose Selections is modeled after the German, I'm not even going to attempt to say this word, so I made it nice and bright yellow so you can see it on the screen. I'll just call it the ADR system, which tests new rose varieties. This successful system has been used in Germany for over 25 years and is widely respected and acknowledged worldwide. They accept roses that have been in commerce less than 5 years for their 2-year evaluations. Entrants send 4 plants to 6 regions, and they're evaluated 3 times a season for the qualities that you see listed here. The American Rose Center also conducts their own assessment in Shreveport, Louisiana, a place that I have been honored to visit 2 times. Roses cannot have been in commerce for over 2 years prior to entry in their 2.5-year trials. 6 to 10 plants are sent to the trial site and evaluated for all of the special awards that you see here. Next is the American Rose Trials for Sustainability, or ARTS. It's a program that evaluates the performance of rose cultivars in different regions across the United States. The No Spray program aims to identify roses that are easy to grow, disease-resistant, and environmentally friendly. Roses can't have been in commerce for more than 10 years upon entry in this 2-year trial. 4 plants in each cultivar are sent to 12 geographically unique sites for evaluation. At its conclusion, a rose could earn a local artist award for superior performance in a specified region, and if they earn local artist awards in 4 or more regions, they earned the Master Rose designation. Now, let's take a look, an in-depth look of some of our award-winning landscape roses, as well as some newer cultivars that just might win some awards in the future. In 2022, At Last Rose earned a local artist award in the DFB region from the Arts. Now, this region is primarily along the northern border with cool summers and cold winters. Comments included gorgeous peach flowers with many more to come, overall nice rose, and a healthy rose with a nice flower color, and hips that are a nice orange color. Now, At Last Rose was bred by Heather and the late Colin Horner, who passed away in December of 2005. Now, this rose is a product of a planned breeding program and they had an objective to develop new, compact, uniform, disease-resistant shrub roses with large, attractive, fragrant flowers. And they succeeded. This is a beautifully fragrant, durable shrub rose. To create this rose, Heather carried out a three-way cross, starting with a variety called Laura Ford, crossed with Gold Bush, and then pollinating one of those seedlings with Horgily, which is one of her own roses. In 2001, among the resulting seedlings, she found a superb rose she patented in 2017 as Horkogil. I hope I said that right. It was released in 2018 by Spring Meadow Nursery with the registered trademark At Last. This is a freely flowering plant with 1 to 7 flowers per lateral stem and about 90 flowers observed developing per plant from June to October in Michigan. At Last, I am happy to say, was our first scented shrub offering, and it is absolutely gorgeous in the garden, smells beautiful. I have 2 of them in my own garden, and I absolutely love them. Now, Shed Aquarium has a few more than that in their garden. This is Shed Aquarium in Chicago, Illinois. It's a gorgeous mass planting. Look how fabulous they are. Now, I like to tell people, especially when I'm talking to consumers, if you have an At Last rose, it really benefits, and you're all rosarians, you know, but they benefit from some nice shaping and some nice trimming, because shrub roses, you can trim them and it's just going to encourage better branching and more blooming. But of course, the people at Shed Aquarium are doing that, and look how incredibly gorgeous they are. I would just love to be upwind of these when they're all in full bloom. Okay, next we're going to look at 2 beautiful roses bred by Dr. David Slezak. Dr. Slezak is a professor of horticulture at the University of Wisconsin. From his students to his colleagues, everyone who works with him speaks of his kindness and endless enthusiasm for roses, and I would have to echo that as well. He is absolutely the most kind person and enthusiastic person that I have met about roses and plants in general. He's very involved in the American Rose Trials for Sustainability, and he's the coordinator of the Northern Earthkind Rose Trials, which identifies well-adapted, low-maintenance landscape roses for the northern Midwest region. One of my favorite roses in my garden comes from Dr. Slezak, and this is Oh So Easy Petite Pink Rose. It earned the 2012 American Rose Society Award of Excellence, and it's a 2019 Arts Master Rose. This cultivar of Oh So Easy Petite Pink Rose was named in honor of Dr. Slezak's former landlady, Marianne Yoshida, who allowed David to set up lights in his apartment so he could begin his breeding work. It's a miniature sized rose with an open flower shape of a light pink color with shades of peach toward the center. It has beautiful tiny blooms that contain 15 to 80 petals. I should probably go back and say this is a polyantha rose with an open flower shape. This rose is a result of a controlled cross of unreleased seedlings from Dr. Slezak's breeding program. The second is also one of my favorites, another one of his roses that I also have in my garden, and it's Oh So Easy Peasy Rose. It sends out sprays of small double blooms, each with a vivid tropical hue of dragon fruit. This shrub rose has earned the 2021 ARS Award of Excellence in its no spray division, and we're also pleased to announce that it's a 2024 Arts Master Rose. This polyantha rose produces double flowers borne in clusters of 6 or more with a mild, sweet fragrance. They appear continuously without deadheading, and it exhibits outstanding resistance to major fungal diseases. And I'm going to go back and say any rose that we have in the Prune Winners Color Choice program must display a resistance to fungal diseases. It's the foliage is almost as important as the blooms to us. We want to make sure that every rose we introduce is successful from the ground up. Oh So Easy Peasy was originated by crossing Balpoa as the seed parent and Mountain Mignonette as the pollen parent. Mignonette as the pollen parent. Its cultivar name is Phyllis Sherman. Phyllis Sherman was a dear friend of David's. When he met her, she had just retired from nursing and loved gardening and plants. When she found out he was studying horticulture, she asked if he could pay him to help her with her garden. He says it was fun to bring plants over to her and help her for free, of course. And he gave her cuttings of some of his newer rose seedlings, and they had a lot of fun, not only in the garden, but also just as dear friends. A lover of gardening and art, she had wonderful stories and adventures traveling the world with her husband, Freddie. Like David, she was an only child, and she said that he served as a great model to him about creating family among friends and truly loving people. Most of all, David says, she was a caring person and a friend. And what an honor to have a rose named after you. Staying with pink roses, 2021 was a big year for this little pink rose. The American Rose Center presented Oh So Easy Double Pink with the Volunteers of America Rose Garden Award for Best Shrub Ground Cover Rose, and it's truly one of the most easy care roses you can grow. It's also a winner of the American Rose Society 2021 Award of Excellence, and it was awarded the 2021 American Rose Trials for Sustainability Local Artist Award in 2 regions. The female parent of Oh So Easy Double Pink Rose was Cora Moreau, and the male parent, the pollen parent, was an unnamed seedling variety. This rose has 10 or more pink double flowers that are produced per stem, held high above the plant. Petite, open, cup-shaped blooms with about 20 to 24 petals are approximately 2 to 2¼ inches in diameter when they're fully open. It also boasts excellent disease resistance and abundant continuous blooms throughout the summer. I can also attest to this because I also grow this rose. Oh So Easy Peasy is the 2024 Proven Winners Color Choice Rose of the Year. And what that means when we choose our Rose of the Year is we don't just randomly choose it. We ask our growers, what do you want to see in the garden centers more often? What are you having a lot of success with? And what do you want to make sure people can most easily find in their garden centers this year? And they chose for 2024 Oh So Easy Double Pink Rose. Oh So Easy Double Pink was bred by Alain Miand out of NTB, France. The Miand family is a multi-generational family of French rose breeders. From the preface of his book, A Life in Roses, Alain best describes what it's like for all new shrubs to come into fruition. I think he sums it up best when he emphasizes that breeders must also be optimists, because one thing we seem to agree upon is it's truly a waiting game to see if any woody ornamental will pass the test to become a new introduction. But you don't have to wait for this beauty. Also bred by Alain Miand, Oh So Easy Double Red Rose is a floriferous, easy-growing rose with an abundance of bright red double blooms. Now, at the risk of saying something over and over and over again, I also grow this rose, and I think it is quite possibly the easiest to grow rose in my garden. It's a little bit larger than the roses we just saw, but it makes a beautiful statement. I even cut it and put them into vases. It has wonderful vase life, and it's an absolutely spectacular rose with beautiful foliage that just stays so clean throughout the year. It has an abundance of bright red double blooms. It's an Arts Local Artist Awardee in 3 regions for 2023. And one judge commented that Oh So Easy Double Rose was the best rose on the block. Other judges' comments included loaded with flower buds, winner of the day, and big and beautiful, and a winner on flower color and size. And one simply said, gorgeous plant. And I have to agree. Oh So Easy Double Red Rose is a seedling from Miand's Double Knockout Rose. It maintains a rounded habit, has an excellent disease resistance, and has earned 8 international awards for form, rebloom, disease resistance, and more. Now, the House of Miand is probably best known for producing the hybrid tea rose known as Peace. It's one of the most recognized roses of all time, and it figures into the lineages of a great many modern roses in the market today. And speaking of peace, Oh So Easy Italian Ice is very similar to peace in its coloration. This was bred and developed by Christopher Hugh Warner in the United Kingdom. It has rounded blooms that open to a soft yellow with pink plushed margins. The soft flower color is set off by dark green glossy foliage on a 1.5 to 2.5 foot rounded habit. Flowers are semi-doubled with 20 to 30 petals per bloom, and it's self-cleaning and very disease resistant. It's also the recipient of a 2024 Local Artist Award from the Arts. We actually have 11 roses currently in the Proven Winners Color Choice, a collection bred by Chris Warner, 5 of which have accumulated 7 awards in total. Jeff Wyckoff recently wrote an article about Chris Warner, and it appeared in last year's January-February issue of the American Rose magazine. In his article, he explained that Warner chooses his cultivar names in this way: the first 2 letters of a given name, a vowel, and then the first letter of his surname, rather than simply W-A-R, so that his roses would not be confused with those of William Warner, a longtime hybridizer for Jackson Perkins. So you're going to see this combination of letters in the cultivar names of his roses every time. Oh So Easy Italian Ice, or Chew Nice Bell, was originated from a controlled cross conducted in June of 1998 between the variety Pandemonium as the female parent and Scrivbell as the male parent. Average diameter of each bloom is 2.5 inches or 2.25 inches. Flowers are semi-doubled to doubled with a cup to flat rounded bloom form. Like all Oh So Easy roses, the foliage is resistant to black spot and powdery mildew. Now, after years of evaluation of yellow roses, in 2013, Warner brought us Oh So Easy Lemon Zest Rose. Recipient of the 2016 American Rose Society Award of Excellence, it not only lives up to our demands of excellent disease resistance, but it has canary yellow flowers that do not fade to white as they age. Oh So Easy Lemon Zest is a free-flowering shrub producing lots of buds which open to self-cleaning flowers. Now, this rose originated from a cross-pollination in June 2000 of the patented Rosa hybrida Horcoherent as the seed parent, with unpatented Rosa hybrida Chupatel as the pollen parent. Another superior shrub rose by Chris Warner is Oh So Easy Urban Legend Landscape Rose. This is a rose that always seems to be in bloom during the season. It's very disease resistant and has been a standout in no-spray rose trials, both in the production setting and in landscape. Most recently, it earned the 2023 Regional Choice Award from American Garden Rose Selections. Now, we're going to miss the Biltmore Rose trials, but I'm so pleased that the Oh So Easy Urban Legend Rose had its day before they were discontinued, capturing the Chauncey Beadle Award for Best Shrub Rose and the Lord Burleigh Award for Best Disease Resistance. Plus, it earned the 2021 Award of Excellence from the American Rose Society. That's a lot of awards. The seed parent is the unpatented variety Rosa Hybrid Pathfinder. The pollen parent is patented Rosa Hybrid Radraz. Oh So Easy Senorita, which you may remember as simply Senorita, has been added to the Oh So Easy line of vigorous and hardy shrub roses, and it's another stunning award-winning rose by Chris Warner with medium to large semi-double blooms of 16 to 17 petals. It's the recipient of the 2022 Award of Excellence by the American Rose Society, where it was tested in their no-spray division. Now, you might also still find this listed as under the name Sunsay in some places, as its name was changed to Senorita shortly after its release. So if you see this listed somewhere as Sunsay, you can be sure, like if you go to Help Me Find or something and you see it there, you can be sure that this is now Oh So Easy Senorita Rose. Senorita blooms and flushes throughout the season and features elegantly, classically shaped buds of red-orange that open to reveal a soft orange bloom, perfectly shaped to form that classic rose bowl. Average diameter of each bloom is approximately 3.5 inches, and as they age, they develop a golden peach tone. The variety originated from a controlled hybrid cross made in June 2006 between the female parent variety Gelber Engel and the male parent variety West Heights. And our newest member of the Oh So Easy series is the spicy Oh So Easy en Fuego. This rose is on fire, and that makes it absolutely irresistible in the garden center and the landscape. Oh So Easy en Fuego rose graces the garden with intensely colorful flowers that start off yellow and red and fully open to electric orange. The large flower size and glossy green foliage make this effect especially memorable. This was bred by Chris Warner, and it's exhibited outstanding disease resistance, which we need to see in our trials, and has been a standout performer in our Florida trials as well. For those of you in the heat, this is an equally good choice for cold or hot climates. Oh So Easy en Fuego, you may start to see it online at certain places this summer still, but you'll start to see it in garden centers next season. As Jeff Wyckoff stated in his article in American Rose, in the last 20 years, Warner's Roses has released some dozen Hothenia hybrids to the market. Ringo was released to retail in 2020, having already been decorated with 6 awards from around the world. And now in the States, it has earned a 2023 Award of Excellence from the American Rose Society. The blooms of Ringo open to bright golden yellow, as you see right here, with a blazing red center. Then they mellow to a softer yellow as they age, and then finally they turn a whitish pink with a distinct pink center. So as the blooms progress through their stages, they often will look on this shrub like you have 3 colors of roses blooming at once. The seed parent is an unpatented variety referred to as Rosa Hybrid Belting Pink, and the pollen parent is the unpatented variety referred to as Rosa Hybrid Golden Age. Ringo Rose is one of 4 of Warner's Hothenia hybrids that we have in the Proven Winners Color Choice collection. It was joined by Ringo All Star in 2021 and by Ringo Double Pink, a beautiful semi-double selection with that same prominent wine-stained eye. It's already a winner of the first class certificate at the Hague Rose Trials, and we can't wait to see how it performs here in the States. Next is our first ever climbing rose series that we're calling Rise Up. These 3 colors also come for the breeding program of Chris Warner. We actually call these roses mini climbers because they'll keep a dense, neat habit, and you can grow them as a climber, you can train them on a trellis, or you can grow them on a shrub rose depending on how they're pruned or trained. So they really have a lot of uses here. If you're looking for the Rise Up Rose collection in whole, you can find them here on the My Proven Winners Color Choice website, or if you just go to provenwinnerscolorchoice.com and look up Rise Up Roses, you'll see them all on one page. Going through each one, Rise Up Ringo Rose is a beautiful mini climber with golden yellow flowers featuring a bright red eye. It exhibits very healthy foliage, a vigorous growth habit with moderate fragrance. It's the winner of the Warsaw Rose Trials Photographers Award and the Australian National Bronze Medal. So if you loved Ringo, but you wished it had a double flower, Rise Up Ringo can be pruned as a shrub or trained as a climber. The flowers of Rise Up Amberness Rose are exquisitely sculpted with wavy amber-colored petals surrounding a classic orange rosebud shape. They'll open to a full bloom with appealing golden stamens in the center that you can see well in this image. The exceptionally fragrant flowers appear all summer without deadheading. Like the others in the series, these sturdy stems allow it to be grown as a climber or as a shrub, however you prefer. They're also beautiful as a cut. As Teresa Byington discovered, when it assisted with her win of the Silver Royalty Award for arranging from the American Rose Society. A beautifully unique rose in the Rise Up series is Rise Up Lilac Days. Between its lilac blue color and the powerful heady fragrance, it's really, really a special shrub. Once again, it has a versatile habit that allows it to be grown as a climber or a shrub, make it an ideal addition to landscapes and gardens. And as you can see, as opposed to the other two, it's also a little taller. So if you're looking for a taller variety, this one will reach heights of 8 feet. Currently in trials, I received this image and a comment from a southern site in its first growing year. I just wanted to share that with you because it had this beautiful picture of the rose in its greenhouse in its first growing year, and I love this comment, and I sure hope it is handling the heat and humidity as well. That remains to be seen. A 2024 introduction and the newest addition to the Rise Up series, Rise Up Ember Rays Rose, is a bonfire of color. It has big blooms that are a blend of orange and pink with a yellow center. Now, this is a climber from a female breeding team that we're working with, Gino Roses. They have breeding, research, and production facilities based in Serbia and the Netherlands, and their goal is to bring out the best in color, fragrance, petal count, and flower power. Also developed by Gino is the Reminiscent series of garden roses, and they bring color, fragrance, and high petal count to these gorgeous shrub roses. This series combines the classic beauty and fragrance of old-fashioned garden roses with modern-day performance of a shrub rose. So let's take a closer look at each one. Reminiscent Coral Rose boasts blousy, bowl-shaped flowers with deep pink coral tones and then an appealing copper center. Dark green foliage accents the flowers and stays clean and healthy throughout the season. You get a better look at that copper center in this image here. Deadheading isn't required for continuous blooms, and look at those blooms. It's hardy in USDA zone 4 to 9, and it's sized for gardens or large containers at just 2 to 3.5 feet tall and 2 feet wide. Not quite white and not quite yellow, Reminiscent Crema Rose combines the best of all worlds with blooms the hue of fresh buttermilk. It's a little smaller than Reminiscent Coral at just 1.5 to 3 feet tall with the same 2-foot width, and it's perfectly sized for a patio container. Each big full bloom boasts a very high petal count and a delightful fragrance. This is the perfect choice for adding classic beauty to the landscape or flower garden. Reminiscent Pink Rose with a bloom that's just a little smaller than Reminiscent Coral and Reminiscent Crema. It brings to mind the glory days of roses with lush blooms bursting with petals, pure color, and once again, powerful fragrance. But it comes with none of the issues that plague old-fashioned roses and blooms all summer without deadheading. This is the tallest of the three as far as the shrub size, maturing at 3 to 4 feet but maintaining a 2-foot width. These three roses would look spectacular planted together in a drift of old-fashioned, low-maintenance loveliness. And from the breeding of Gino is this 2024 release and the newest member of our disease-resistant landscape rose collection, Oh So Easy Ice Bay. This has elegant milky white blooms centered with vibrant yellow stamens. Creamy colored flower beds open to white and stay that color until they're spent, unlike some white roses that can age to pink. It's extra hardy down to USDA zone 3, and it's new to garden centers this year. And finally, also from our breeders at Gino comes a new edible rose series we're calling Flavorette. Now I know all roses are technically edible, but the petals on these roses are delicately flavored and have a light velvety texture. So you really feel like you're enjoying this, horticulture loveliness in your foods and not like you're just eating potpourri. The light, sweet flavor of the petals goes perfectly with savory salads, decorated on desserts, or whatever culinary delight you can dream up. Flavorette Honey Apricot Rose was the first in the series, and with its name, I'm guessing you know what the flavor is. Beyond its uses in the kitchen, it looks right at home in the border with large rounded blooms that are filled with petals, giving arrangements and your garden a lush look. Available next year, Flavorette Paired Rose has delicate pink flowers with a distinctive light pear flavor and lush, soft texture. The semi-double flowers are born on a sturdy, healthy plant that's as easy to grow as a shrub rose. And here's a beautiful setting with both of those edible roses, and they're just absolutely gorgeous to grow in your garden or to use to decorate all your culinary creations. And that's it. Now, if you want to refer back to any of the roses we offer, you can just go to provenwinnerscolorchoice.com and click on the resources menu and then look for All About Roses. And you'll find this page that has all the roses that we offer, lots of video information on roses. I think I have a video series of 12 videos on rose care. And then if you can't find any answers to questions that you need there, you can always go to provenwinners.com. They have a helpline available there, and you can ask any question. There's always horticulturists on standby waiting to answer those questions and give you the best answer possible. So speaking of Q&A, I think it's time for that now. Here's my contact information. If you want to find me online, you can always find me at Natalie Garden PR. I have a YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook, and this is our website, provenwinnerscolorchoice.com.